Bienvenidos amigos, it's your friend Carlos Antonio Flores, aka Flo the Businessman. I'm right here with my good friend Martin Guerrero with Square. Martin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Carlos. Happy to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're originally from?
Born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. Both my parents are from Mexico, from the states of Durango and Chihuahua. Born and raised in Phoenix.
How did you find yourself working at Square? Because I think we met about a year ago and you were with Square and you're very active within the community. I think you're probably one of the people that I see that probably travels more than I do, actually. So how did you end up working at Square?
I was working at a separate company called Weebly.com, which is an e-commerce platform. And so we did e-commerce websites. And Square bought us in 2018. Because at that time, Square was fairly known just for in-person payments, right? Brick and mortar. And we had partnerships with some e-commerce platforms, but we didn't have our own solution. So they bought us and we became the Square online store. And that was 2018. We launched it in 2019, late 2019, and then COVID hit. So we had our own platform in 2020 ready to go for our businesses to be able to convert to being online, which was very helpful during the pandemic.
How do you feel that your previous experience working at Weebly prepared you for what you're currently doing now?
So at Weebly, I was doing a lot of what was called sales enablement, which was helping a lot of our bigger businesses onboard onto the platform because they would need help with that. They were on other platforms and we wanted to help switch them. I mean, it was relationship building, right? You're working with these business owners, getting them to trust you to help them, switch over, move on to a new platform. So it's really just, earning their trust, building relationships with them. And that's what I do with all the different organizations I work with while I'm on the road. And
for somebody like on the younger side that is trying to break into a career path and whatnot, do you feel like they need to go to school? Like, for example, what you do now was like a certain thing, degrees or something that they should be trying to do to be in that position?
That's a good question. And I'm in a really, really unique position where the position was almost created for me just because of what I had been doing in the past with, like I said, building those relationships, being able to speak in public and talk to people, right, is a major skill that you have to have, especially in a role like this. But, if you're looking at degrees, things like, public policy, public service, things like that, where you're in the community and talking to people. But man, like as far as like tech, right, Square's known as tech, and you think, you have to be like an engineer or a developer or no coding or things like that. But I like to, and when I tell my story, it's like, I don't have that background, right? I have a people background, I have a sales background, I have a, customer service background, but you need those roles within technology as well. There's the folks that do build the tech, right, create the tech, but then there's the folks that sell it, that support it, that talk about it. So, if you want to get into tech, there's many other ways that get into tech. We're filming a video right now. We have videographers, right? We have photographers, designers, creative staff that are there, but they're quote unquote in the world of tech.
Well, it's pretty cool that I see Square in particular, like really supporting the Latino community. Do you think that they anticipate some of the growth that, like for example, we're currently at Latitude 2024 here in beautiful San Diego, California, and I see a lot of the growth that you guys have. I think you guys are either number one or number two in the space. What do you guys attribute to that?
And you're talking about Latitude and just the numbers they're talking about, the Latino business cohort being, one of the largest out there. I mean, you can't ignore it, right? You have to service that community or you're going to get left behind because they're not going to do business with you, right? And in my business, it's building trust, it's building relationships, and if you know do about anything with the Latino community, they have to trust you first, right? You can't just be like, hey, here, buy my product. It's like, no, I have to know you, get to know you, meet you, and then do business like that. But for us, it's the ease of use. I mean, that was how Square was born, was to have an easy way to take a payment and to never miss a payment. One of our founders was a business, and he had trouble getting a credit card terminal from a major bank, right? So he was very frustrated with that, and he went with met with our other founder and said, how can we solve this problem? And this was 2007, 2008, and that was when the iPhone came out, and they said, well, how can we use this to our advantage? And that's how Square was born, and made it super easy for anybody to plug in that little white reader right into their phone and take a payment here on the beach, on a boat, right, and at a farmer's market or in their store. And that's what when you're running a business, there's so many things you have to do, and we don't want to make it more complicated. We want to make it as easy as possible. So if folks can use our platform super easy, they're going to adopt it even more.
I think a lot of times those innovations are because of necessity, right? Where somebody needs. So I've heard examples like that. So it makes a lot of sense that the one of the founders actually needed that service. It wasn't there, so he created it, and now Square is Square. I'd like to ask something, that statement I said earlier, that you travel a lot. Like we were just talking a little earlier that there's 4 conferences in 1 month, and I'm just constantly seeing you on the road and whatnot. How do you handle such a busy schedule?
I used to say yes to everything, and that's the wrong way to go about it. We have a lot of partners, and we love to show up for them because we want to see them where they're at, meet them where they're at, support them when we can. But I've gotten a lot better at prioritizing what I can and can't do. Like you mentioned, like there was 4 conferences I could have attended this week. I prioritized Latitude because I had not been here before, and at those other conferences I was able to give an opportunity to other employees that don't do what I do to be able to represent us at those conferences, so they got to kind of experience what I do and meet our partners where they're at versus normally they're on the phone or by email. So I like giving that opportunity back to them, so I'm able to do that now.
Well, I know that you're very busy, so I do appreciate you making time for us today. So with La Revista Binacional, please stay tuned, and we got more content coming for you guys. Thank you.